Well, hello and good evening to everybody. We're starting off a little bit earlier today because I wanted to get right into these stories and then pull right out so that you guys could have the rest of your evenings together. I want to say hi. I know that we are not together often while we are live, but that doesn't stop me from coming in and hanging out with you guys every now and again. The stories that we're dealing with today are stories that, yeah, you probably do know, but there are some stories that are a little lesser known. When you think about that, you start to say, well, gee whiz, where did the stories go? How come we don't know about them? And I think it's because we've got so many things going on right now that, yeah, they just don't have that kind of time. How about that? All right, so the first story that we're going to get into is a pretty curious story. And I say curious because we were just talking about this not long ago. The Poison Control Center warns people about some toxic kits. So let's look right at that. All right. All right. So the Poison Control Center warns about on warnings about on a toxic chemical at home kits. So there are some toxic at home chemicals. Or let me digress. Poison Control Center warns about on toxic chemicals inside of the COVID-19 kit. How about that? All right, so it goes on to say here that some at home rapid COVID-19 tests contain a toxic chemical that may be harmful to both children and adults, according to the health officials with the National Capital Poison Center. They say, quote, it is important to know that the extraction vial in many rapid antigen kits includes the chemical sodium azide as a preservative agent. The Binax, now BD Veritor, Flovex, and the Cellutron Diatrust COVID-19 rapid antigen kits all contain this chemical. Sodium azide is a colorless, odorless powder that testers dip the cotton swabs into, and the chemical is found in herbicides, pest control agents, and airbags for cars. It goes on to say that, quote, small doses of the sodium azide can lower the blood pressure, and the larger doses can cause more serious health effects. An advisory from the Health Canada also said that Proclin, I think that's it, Procline, is also found in many of the kits. And it also contains chemicals that can cause skin and eye irritation as well as the allergic reactions. Some hospitals around the United States say that they have received a surge in phone calls about the exposure to the chemicals. And they further say, quote, we started getting our first exposures to these test kits around early November. And this is from Sheila Goatmeller. Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry if you're watching, Sheila. Bless your heart. The pharmacist and clinical toxicologist from for the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. They said that it was really all ages. They had it for everybody, not just the kids. It says mostly, I've been worried about our young children. Now, it says here that the accidental exposure is occurring among both children as well as adults. And this comes from Dr. Kelly Johnson Arbor with the National Capital Poison Center in Washington, according to WNEP. Quote, people might mistake them for eye drops. Children might drop it on their skin, and adults will sometimes mistakenly put it in their eyes. You don't want to leave it on your skin because it potentially can cause an allergic reaction or a skin rash. And if someone drinks the solution, she says, it's really important to contact the poison control right away. We have grandkids here this weekend, so I apologize. They're humans. It goes on to say that the solutions have different ingredients, and some have toxic ingredients, and others have more dangerous ingredients. Now, so let's just keep that in the back of our minds for those of you who may have these in your, in your closet, in your stash, or maybe you got one free in the mail, maybe you got one sent to you. Be a little cognizant of that. And if you guys remember, about a week or so ago, we were dealing with the story about the Chinese test kits that were given somewhat carte blanche. They were given away at the football game, the most recent football game for the Super Bowl, and they're also from a Chinese company. And so we thought about that as well. When I looked at this story, I was like, I wonder if they're one and the same, but we never will know. One other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today really quickly was the Open RAN or Open RAN. So the Open RAN, when we're thinking about 5G and all that stuff, what I'm going to do with that story though is I think I just want to bring that to you guys as maybe we'll do it both ways. We'll just do it both ways. Let's look at this right here. So this was for Nokia, and this was October of 2020. The Open RAN explained. So they go here and they're explaining all that you need to know and understand about RAN. And they're explaining the 1G, 5G, GSM, the improved voice, and all. They're explaining all of this stuff. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because I wanted to ask you guys if you knew about the issues that they're continuously having with the rollout of the 5G. Did you know that there were some issues with it? There is. There is, and it's a little deeper than I thought. You know, when I thought about the whole 5G part, I thought that the 5G was already ready to roll out, that it was like this one nice tied up bundle, that it didn't have any frayed strands to it, that it was completely together. Well, this right here was published January 24th. So as I read it, it may sound a little dated, but I just want you to keep in mind the dates, but understand where we are today. All right? Where we are right now and what we just experienced with this whole rollout, it led me to believe, let me come over here because I can't see you guys. Did you guys think that the 5G and all of that stuff was done, that it was rolled out the way that it was supposed to be rolled out, and it was just a matter of, coming online in certain areas? Because that's what I thought. That's how I figured it. You know what I mean? Oh, look at you. Sandy Aaron says, Fifi, your soft speaking in your prior video lullabied me right off into dream world. Okay. But let me see. What do you say, Joy? Pay attention, read verse 3641. Okay. You didn't think so? Okay. All right. I thought that it was finished. Do you know that? I thought that it was Matrix. I thought that it was all just ready to roll out. I had no idea that they were trying to run and play catch up. I didn't know they were trying to run and play catch up. And that's apparently what's going on here. You thought that too? You thought they had it all locked? Yeah, I did too. China responsible for COVID-19 SARS too, so we trust them for medical needs. Nope, not me. Thank you for that, Russell Curtis. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see. I knew it had issues. I'm a telecom engineer. Okay, bingo. Thank you, Christopher. I need to have you. You need to get this link. You need to come here and you need to help me while I'm about to read this next story. Here's the deal. I love technical stuff. I love all of that. But the issue is I don't always get it. And I thought that they were done. I thought that it was all finished. Now, this is a bit lengthy, but since you're here, Christopher, and there may be a lot of other people that are like you here, you guys will get this. All right. So again, the story was from January 24th, 2022, and the author is Thomas Dosterberg. All right. And it is coming from Forbes. Only 1,219 views. It says, quote, the U.S. led pushback on the penetration of Huawei's, is that how you say, Huawei's 5G infrastructure system and mobile devices outside China has resulted in the significant loss of market share by the Chinese electronics giant. Huawei has been effectively banned in the United States and in many European and Asian markets, and its 5G mobile handset division crippled by the U.S. export controls and on key components for these devices. Nonetheless, the most promising Western alternative and game-changing telecommunications technology to challenge Huawei's dominance has, as well as that of the other three integrated providers, Nokia, Ericsson, and Samsung, called on Open RAN or Radio Access Network, has not yet lived up to its promise to become a technically and economically superior substitute to the dominant incumbents. 2022 will be a vital year. Again, remember, this was the top of January. or the mid part of January. 2022 will be a vital year to prove the value of this new technology, especially since three important nationwide Open RAN systems have deadlines, okay, to inaugurate service this year or soon thereafter. In recent years, several operational Open RAN systems have been put into place, but no large scale system has yet solidly demonstrated their advantage and economic viability. Telecom operators around the world are stepping up their efforts to build out 5G systems with huge investments in new infrastructure, most of them using the major incumbents listed above. As these investments are made, the hundreds of billions of dollars of fresh capital required to have been amortized on an Open RAN will be forced to wait until the next cycle. Get this, 6G. 6G. Do you see that? 6G. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. So if they don't get it together now, it'll have, what? Okay, so to prove its case, unless operators quicken the pace of their investments in the new technology, the political case for virtualized systems has continued to make progress around the world as the dangers of using Chinese technology becomes more widely recognized. China continues to exclude reciprocal access to its huge internal market, and China enforces a new law requiring all data generated in China to be kept there and remain subject to controls by the central authorities. These latter factors give huge advantages of scale to China's domestic suppliers, Huawei and ZTE, but also have motivated the United States and others to limit the expansion of these Chinese companies outside of China. In addition to the United States policy that effectively bans Chinese providers, the Five Eyes, the Five Eyes Intelligence Sharing Consortium of Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States have limited or banned Huawei, and the fifth member, Canada, is expected to do so quickly. Denmark, Finland, India, Japan, Poland, and Sweden are among others limiting Huawei and ZTE in their territories. More directly related to Open RAN, the United Kingdom has set a goal of having 35% of its telecom networks operating with this technology by 2030. And is supporting dozens of hardware and software development projects to support this effort among domestic producers. Japan has called for 2 international conferences in 2022 to promote development of Open RAN 6G systems. Invited participants include the Quad countries, the United States, Japan, Australia, and India, as well as the EU and Taiwan. Japanese telecom operators NTT Docomo and KDDI, as well as electronics equipment powerhouse NEC, along with upstart Open RAN operator Rakuten, are deeply involved with the effort to operationalize the promising new technology. Even the cautious EU has begun to use some industrial development funds to support the Open RAN technology. Major EU operator companies including Vodafone, Orange, Telefónica, Telecom Italia, Deutsche Telekom are participating in Open RAN demonstration projects and urging the EU support so that the continent does not lag United States and Japanese leaders. Undoubtedly, the key development in 2022 will be the multi-billion-dollar investment by 3 new entrants to build out the nationwide 5G Open RAN networks. Rakuten in Japan is the first mover in this technology evolution. It already operates in major urban areas and has over 5 million subscribers, largely for 4G users, but is spending lavishly to roll out the 5G services this year. After much initial doubt, the opposition from the incumbent telecom operators, the Japanese government, and major electronics firms in an effort to rebuild Japan's global market share, but also to provide an alternative to Huawei, now are supportive of the program to perfect Open RAN and are pushing the United States and allies to or it should say to move. I see the R, but I think they're trying to say to move more quickly to develop new technology. In the United States, the big three telecom operators are all involved, albeit cautiously, in Open RAN standards, the technology development. Small rural operators in Alaska and the Mountain West have installed Open RAN networks. However, the major experiment will likely spell success or continued languishing of Open RAN is Dish Network. The television and broadband pioneer Charles Ergen has committed a part of an agreement with the Antitrust Division of the Department of Justice to build out the fourth nationwide 4G, 5G network and has chosen Open RAN for its operating system. Dish is partnering with the United States electronics, cloud, and telecom innovators such as Qualcomm, Dell Technologies, IBM, Intel, Mavenir to build its network. Its commitment to DOJ is to have a functional nationwide network by 2023, which covers 70% of the United States population. It has already spent more than $10 billion on its infrastructure and is building out final networks in 42 urban areas. Its first broad live rollouts are planned for April in Las Vegas, and it plans to have operating covering 20% of the population by summer this year. In Germany, the upstart telecom operator 1&1, I think it's Drillisch AG, is committed to building out its own nationwide mobile high-speed service using Open RAN technology. The firm is 75% owned by United Internet, which has 26 million subscribers and already operates a landline mobile telecom service largely based on leasing infrastructure from Telefónica and Vodafone. It is now building on its greenfield 5G network, and 1&1 has established goals of serving at least 25% of the German population by 2025. So they're working on this in concert, okay? So it goes on to say, and 50% by 2030 with its new Open RAN network. These goals are a part of its commitment, which it hopes to exceed in terms of timing, made as part of its agreement with the government, which it purchased needed 5G spectrum. 1&1 is working with Rakuten and NEC to build out the new network and plans at least $10 billion in investments in this decade. Despite the declarations of continued support by the United States authorities, the Congress and the Biden administration could do more to accelerate the development of Open RAN technology and its deployment in the United States. As Congress's 2022 agenda takes shape, it is likely to see near-term consideration of the United States Innovation and Competition Act, or the USICA. The Biden team now supports quick passage of the USICA and has reiterated that the goal of building alternatives to Huawei and supporting their deployment domestically and internationally. USICA has numerous provisions which could contribute supporting the Open RAN technology and standards development. The large expansion of research and development funding proposed by the USICA encompasses provisions for both the semiconductors and other electronics needed to advance telecommunications and Open RAN systems. It does contain a specific provision authorizing $1.5 billion for open and virtual RAN developments in the United States. The infrastructure bill passed into law in late 2021 includes $65 billion in funding for broadband expansion, especially in the underdeserved areas. For the rural areas, a RIP and replace program is already modestly funded by the Federal Communications Commission to eliminate Huawei and ZTE from rural networks. Both this existing FCC program and an expansion of the broadband service could benefit from the large new funds available under the infrastructure program. Open RAN ought to be the focus of this replacement and expansion effort. Finally, the United States should cooperate with the Japanese in planning a 6G development trajectory focused on Open RAN. This would include, as first done by the Trump administration, cooperating with Japanese and other allied foreign development aid programs to support the development of Open RAN systems in other countries to compete with Chinese subsidized systems. It also anticipates closer cooperation and standards making bodies to ensure that the successful rules-based private sector-led process continues and is not undermined, I should say, by the Chinese tactics to impose its own standards. I know that sound like a lot of stuff to say, wow, but wow. Wow. To me, this, I'm just going to let that sit there. That's all. Did you or did you guys not think that this was done? 6G. 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 This is amazing. Yeah, definitely, Russell. Russell, you are absolutely right. You are definitely right. Bring it back. As a matter of fact, do you know that there are places that actually do have that available for you should you choose to have it? Yep. They do have that available should you choose to have it. You know, there are some people who have their homes built out with it now, actually. Even the what are they called? It's the stuff that goes in the wall, you guys. I can't think of, it's not particle board, but it's the stuff that goes in the sheetrock, is it? Is it sheetrock or is it those? I can't think of the name of them. But nonetheless, yeah, they have it where you can actually build a whole house out. But is that not amazing? And did you guys know that? Did you all know that that was underway? I didn't. I did not. Insulation, yes. The insulation and then those boards, they're white and you can take them out whenever you have like something is, when you've had a flood in the house, the walls, I forget the name of it. But can you guys, what do you guys think about this? Let me read some of your comments before we go because we're going to be getting off here in a minute. I know that everybody doesn't really like long ones. I've been taking a lot of your comments and really putting them to great use. So let me come up here. I'm going to start back. So some of these folks may already be gone. All right, let's go. Let's go. I'm glad you guys are joining me. But again, we're going to read the comments and then we're going to jet. Okay, Russell says, hey, Matrix. Hey, hey, ladies. Sarah says, hey, howdy from Space City. Christopher. Okay, good evening to you, Marty. Jess Bryan. Okay, so many distractions today. Any news on and others suing the crimes against humanity? No. You know what? I did see that, Jess Bryan, but I think that according to a very good source, the actual court that some of these places, some of these individuals are going to courts that are just more so a beautiful fanfare, but they're not really doing much. Does that make sense? You know, thank you for that, Traces of Life. Azide, thank you. And thank you so very much, Christopher Napier, for that super sticker. I appreciate that so much. Yes. Absolutely. Jess Bryan, yes, there are a lot of distractions. Ethylene oxide, major carcinogen, was reportedly used on many of those nasal swab tests. And then the bad part about it is, gee whiz, here we are with this issue. Now they want to sort of call back all of those. And so I do hope that everybody who has those particular tests are able to return them and get them out of here. You know, get them away from you so that you can return them and do whatever you got to do. Okay. All right, so let me go. But yeah, did you guys sort of think that this was already done? I thought that they were done. I'm so ignorant to how this whole thing works with regards to the 5G and the 6G and all this different thing. I knew that 6G was coming up, but I didn't think that it was something to where if they weren't able to get all the funding that they need, they would be able to take everything that they did glean thus far and add that to the game for what was coming up. And so just, pardon my ignorance on that. But I'm gonna just ask you guys just to see what you think. I'm gonna scroll all the way back down because there's a lot of comments here. I'll start here. Okay, propylene is bad too. Yes, thank you for that. Hardwire your internet. But you know what, Mark? I want to ask you a question. I'm not sure if you're still here or not. But I just had an issue just recently with the internet. Mine started slowing down, and I have Google Fiber. And so I just thought to myself, gee whiz, why is it making it so slow? So finally, after going through this for like a month with it twirling, even when I'm here with you guys, Mark, I noticed just to give them a call. So I called them and I said, hey, what's the issue? What gives? And she says that my box, and I have it hardwired, it's Ethernet, right? She was saying that the gal on the phone was trying to get me to get the box that does something that's blended, that has blended the 5G with the 3 or 2 or something. I didn't want any of that. I said, just put it back the way that it was. But am I still getting that in the house? I'm wondering. And I guess we are. I guess we are still getting it in the house. And as much as we don't even want it, we're still getting it in the house somehow. That's very concerning. Hey, Maureen Olson. Hard foam board with aluminum foil backing. Thank you for that, the knob one. Thank you. You say no thanks? All right, Susan, I'm with you on that one. Brave New World, Susan Dorr says. And yes, it is. It is. It is. Drywall. Yes, that is what I was trying to think of. That's the stuff that you can just remove. That if you have a flood, you can take out and cut a big chunk of that out or something like that, right? I think so. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, yeah. Fiber optics. Joy Trujillo says the gas station. Let's see, Ethernet cable. Gypsum. Okay. You guys are so smart. You guys are so smart here. You really are. We have the best chats everywhere. If we're not careful, we may catch a dose of that syndrome. You know what? I think that they just sort of harnessed that just recently and had a big deal with that just recently. Yeah, they did. Time to fry the fish. So we're going to say, Sharon, time to fry fish. Matrix says electronic panoptin. I don't know. But I know you know me and you love me, so it's okay. You know I don't mean no harm. Panopticon. We are, aren't we? 3 dots. Yes, we are. Anthony. Hey, Anthony Van Zandt is in the house. Welcome. Yes, the big G is watching. What? The 5 eyes. Wow. So everybody's in it all together. Yes, Las Vegas, where all the black goo was falling. Yes, ma'am. And one of the first places to shut their entire main thoroughfare down, and some people that I know that live there stated that not only did they shut that main thoroughfare down, but that's when they started switching out a lot of stuff on those main roads. Yep. Bring it back, right? Yep. I leave remarks up to read, but delete them if you think they'll trip. Yeah, please. Yeah. We want you guys to sort of govern yourself so that we can all sort of hang out together. You know what I mean? All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I promise not to be before you long. So this is 30 minutes. And I know that when I'm looking at people's comments over on BitChute and everywhere else, they really don't like these long ones. But I have to reach out and touch you because that's just who I am. And so I've just resolved it in my mind to say that we'll do it at least once a week so that we can just touch one another and say hi. I hope that you guys are all taking care of yourselves. I want you to remember what we always say on the Felicia Lockhart Group's publications, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of yourselves, and please take care of one another. Remember, I always say the reason why you take care of you first is because if you, mama and daddy, or mama or daddy, aren't together, then nobody else will be taken care of. I see one comment here, and this is from Chris. I do want to read this, okay? Internet of people and Internet of Things connected through the big 5-7 via computer and satellite is the electronic panopticon. Thank you, baby. Also, I want you guys to know that all of the Bettina's stuff is open. So if you guys want to go and read and listen to any of her old things, please let me know if something is not open. We found that some of her stuff was removed and some was purged. We don't know why, but there is a lot of stuff that's been reopened because we protected some of it. So it's all back open. If you want to go back and read or listen to some of her old stuff, I should say, please do and share it. Okay? All right, you guys, y'all take care, and we will see each other soon. All right? Okay, bye.
Black eye perspective.